AI is coming, and I don't mean Allen Iverson. I mean artificial intelligence. It's coming for our cards. It's coming for our hobby. But should we be scared and run, or is this actually a great thing? We'll tell you what's about to happen now. Hello, sports card investors, and welcome to another episode of Cards on the Table. And boy, do we have some conversation for you today, starting with some juicy thoughts about artificial intelligence. And joining me as always, Teapot. Welcome back to the show, sir.
Hello, sir. Great to be back.
Good to see you. Doug, I can be friends with you now because we're not in football season, we're not in basketball season, so our Gators and Kentucky, fandom, we don't have anything to argue about.
You know what? I'll take it. It's nice to have just some positive vibes going on in the office for once.
There you go. There you go. It's always good for the culture, right? To not have to fight over your sports teams. Guys, let's talk about artificial intelligence, because we have seen obviously, crazy gains in artificial intelligence and all these people talking on social all the time about ChatGPT and how this is all this artificial intelligence movement is going to transform every business and every industry. So that means it's going to transform the sports card hobby as well. Is this something we should really be thinking about, Teapot, or is this just science fiction, nothing to worry about?
I don't think the average person realizes how fast and how hard AI is coming. There's already a ton being released this year, and it's not slowing down. I think that AI is probably going to impact humanity in bigger ways than electricity, than the internet, than modes of transportation. This is going to be huge. It could fundamentally change the way we do just about everything, and I think the hobby is a big part of that. So some different ways I think it could impact things. Design, whether used for inspiration or just outright creating new cards for the manufacturers. You put in a command, you tell it what style you want, what players doing this, and it spits it out in 5 seconds. That could expedite a lot of new products. Manufacturing, it can help with quality control, detecting print lines, looking at, was this improperly cut? Just run it back through and do it again, and we're going to have to eat the cost on it. Pack odds and print run optimization, I think, is a big one I would be excited about. Just using AI to run cost price optimization, help with demand planning, reading the market, knowing how products did, inventory and collection management, everything we're doing with market movers and that whole process and being able to recognize cards. I think it could help fingerprint cards to help with theft tracing and other things, as well as maybe scan and scrape and crawl the internet. If you posted the PSA number and the serial number on the back, it could go out and look for that item being for sale everywhere on the web. It'll help with game theory and balancing out card games like TCG games like Pokemon, Magic, other things. Pricing, it could actually be the one thing that could actually be relied upon with no bias maybe to have really complicated algorithms to do predictive and suggestive pricing for cards. And then just technology, hardware, and software development in general. We're already seeing devs and engineers use ChatGPT to write code for them, to fix errors, to streamline that whole process. So I think the pace, by 2030, I fully expect there's going to be a ton of new innovations in the hobby, and I think AI is going to be at the heart of it.
Well, that's kind of a big view Teapot's got over there, Doug. Are you buying into where this is all going, or you think this is a bad thing, or is there some good going to come here as well?
All I can think about right now is my own personal disappointment. I missed a really good opportunity to have ChatGPT write my script for this segment, and I blew it, so I'm kicking myself for that. Overall, I guess I'm a bit pessimistic. I really don't want to be that guy and rain on everything, but I've got that fear of the unknown, I guess, and there's a lot of unknown with AI. Now, I'm glad that you mentioned some things that would be positive, because I didn't really have a lot going on in my brain about what would be nice about this, but I'm worried that AI will impact the hobby, and there's ways to use it nefariously, and I'm really worried about manufacturers and companies' abilities to catch up to that. I do think there's some positives from my end as well. We've talked a lot on the show about AI grading and how I think the future of grading is probably in AI, and I'm very comfortable with that, and I think that that's a good direction. And a lot of what you said makes sense as well, but I have a lot of fear about the things that I don't understand, and there's a lot about this that I don't understand, so I don't know. I do have some worry for sure.
Okay. All right. Well, I guess it's fair for everyone to be a little bit concerned. We're entering into the great unknown, but I think there's some things that AI could really help with the sports card hobby. So grading, being one. I think the identification of cards being another. There's some apps like, for example, Market Movers, where you can scan a card, scan a slab in Market Movers, and it will help you identify what that card is and see pricing. But none of these apps are perfect. They all have issues, and it's actually a really hard challenge right now to be able to get the image recognition right on such a vast variety of sports cards because there's so many millions of them. AI could really help with that. You could take that a step further, and you could be watching a live stream of a break, and every time the breaker pulls a card out of a pack, AI could instantly identify what that card is and could put up on the screen. This is that particular card. This is the variation.
Yep.
This is what that card might be worth on the secondary market if the person were to sell it now. I mean, how cool would that be to kind of add that into your breaks, right? I think there's a million different ways that this could go. There probably is going to be some bad that comes with it. I think that there's going to be a lot of good that comes with it, and that's going to make the hobby much more advanced in a lot of ways. So I'm looking forward to it, but it certainly is going to be a bold next few years ahead.
Yep.
And going from the unknown to the known, one thing that I know is that there's a really nice Upper Deck Ionics Tom Brady rookie card for sale right now on pristineauction.com. Those cards are numbered to 2,000, so not a ton of those made in BGS 9.5, relatively rare in high grades. What are you looking at right now on pristineauction.com?
J-Rod, slow start to the season. Card prices down somewhat. Could be a good buying opportunity for a monster. It says Bowman Sapphire 1/1 Paparadasha.
Ooh.
Say that 5 times fast.
I'm not going to, but that is a monster card. How about you, Doug?
Yeah, that sounded like a setup. I went with something unique also. I found a 2018 Panini Instant Luka Doncic rookie numbered to 14, and it's the round ball lottery auto. So there's actually a little piece of basketball on there that's signed by Luka. So very unique to get such a low numbered Luka rookie auto from a set like Panini Instant.
Yeah, okay. Well, these cards and more are all available for auction right now on pristineauction.com. And when you register on Pristine Auction, put in promo code SCI when you register, and we're going to give you $10 in free credit towards your first purchase. Okay, Teapot, this last weekend on the Market Movers YouTube channel, you did a really interesting video, right? And you said that there are some card prices right now that are absolutely crazy. And you actually used a card that I recently bought as a comparison of a card that might have better value than cards that people are spending money on of guys currently playing. Tell us a little more about this.
So Joe Burrow's NT-RPA, numbered to 99, is true RPA, with not a game-worn patch, just RPA, NT, sold for $145,000.
Is that a PSA 10?
I believe that was a PSA 10. Justin Herbert sold for like $89,000 or $85,000. So based on that, you look at Drew Brees' all-time best rookie card, which you bought.
This is the card Pop
PSA
5 in a PSA
10 Auto 10 Pop 5. You'd expect that's got to be up there, right? How about $18,000 compared to that one auto selling for Joe Burrow of 99 in existence, of many others serial numbered in different cuts and views and other products? I can't wrap my head around it, to be honest. And if you project long term, I can't see how I would feel comfortable sitting on that card. I would fully expect that the older cards have more room to appreciate well before those cards have room to appreciate, whereas I think the gap on those ultra moderns will come down. The question I'm asking myself is that okay? Should we be raising the red flag about this? Is this just the nature of things? Are people who are buying into this aware of what they're getting into? I can't imagine anybody spending $145K and being like, I'm okay losing 100 of that in the next 2 years. But it certainly happened over and over and over again. So I'm just trying to kind of point some things out.
It is an interesting comparison. I think actually Justin Herbert's the more interesting comparison because, you know, people spending close to $100,000 for his National Treasures RPA. Somebody spent over $1 million for his Prism Black 1/1. This is Justin Herbert. You know, Justin Herbert may very well never get to the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
Phillip Rivers didn't. And Phillip Rivers was the guy who was there right before him. And Phillip Rivers was actually a really good quarterback for many, many years and never once made it to the Super Bowl. What do you think Phillip Rivers' most expensive rookie card is worth today?
Not much.
Not $1 million, I'll tell you that, right? Not even the $18,000 that Drew Brees' most expensive rookie card is worth. It is a fair point for sure. But Doug, I know you love chasing the modern guys. That's where all the action and excitement is. So does it actually make sense?
So $18K for the Breeze. I need to add that to my Jeff spreadsheet real quick. Profits and losses. Yeah, so it starts with speculation, right? Every year a new product comes out. There's a new rookie class to chase, and we can't just leave it alone. We can't wait and see what these guys do because there's always the chance they turn into the next Brady, the next Mahomes.
Yeah.
It's a 1% chance. But what are you going to do? Just leave that guy sitting there at a low price because it's probably not going to work out. No, people are going to spend way too much money. They're not going to wait and see if these guys perform. And that's just the cycle of things. And part of that is just the love for the gamble. That's part of the appeal for me. I love to gamble. A part of this is also chasing guys that are playing right now.
Yeah.
So, Breeze isn't on the field right now. Now I can invest in a guy like Burrow and just be a part of his career's
A little
evolution.
more fun.
It
I
is
just
more fun.
I just bought some big Jalen Hurts cards, and now I'm a big Eagles fan this season.
And as long as you can tolerate that risk and, Hurts goes to 0, if Burrow goes to 0, we're going to be okay. And, I'm going to have a little bit more fun doing that than buying a guy like Breeze.
Yeah, no, that's fair. I think there's a spot in it for everybody, but I do worry long term, as you said, about the guys who don't make it. Mahomes is probably going to be okay long term at this point, but Herbert, even Burrow, I think Burrow's going to be great. I think Cincinnati's going to be great, but what if he never makes it back to the Super Bowl?
There can only be a few great ones
never
every
does?
generation,
Yeah.
if there are any. And I guarantee you there's been more money spent on Justin Herbert cards since he's been in the league than on Drew Brees cards since he's been in the league and out of the league. So
There's no
something
doubt,
to think about.
That is probably true. All right, guys, we got some more good topics. We're going to talk custom cards, and we're going to talk about trading apps and platforms. But first, a quick break. All right, guys, you can grab your stand-up displays right now and get 10% off. Go to standupdisplays.co and use promo code SCI when you're checking out for 10% off. Okay, let's go to this first question. I think this came from one of our viewers. The last YouTube episode, somebody left this question in the comments, and please leave your own questions in the comments as well. Should custom cards hold more value? Now, this is interesting because there's been a big rise in custom cards in the sports card hobby over the last few years. Some extremely talented artists, you see a lot of them on Instagram, have really created a nice niche in the hobby and have become very popular creating custom cards for people. But while these cards are fun to buy and get a kind of an art piece of your favorite player, they often will have no resale value, really. They're just there for the person who bought them. But is that right? Or should these cards actually be considered actual cards and be more part of the hobby in terms of having value?
No cap, I love custom cards. Learned that phrase recently. I'm a big fan of custom cards. I'm crazy about custom cards. I think they're really cool. I've bought some of them. I'm okay with them not being resellable necessarily. I had some custom cards designed by Mal's Custom Cards. Shout out Mal. And I just said, hey, here's some inspiration. I want a card with Giannis and John Stockton on the card, almost like a time travel theme. Instead of it being Malone, it's Stockton to Giannis, like transcend. She made this awesome card with like time travel theme and everything on it. I made an awesome Barry Sanders card for me. I think custom cards are amazing. I don't really understand why the manufacturers haven't gone out and hired some of these people, or at least partnered with them in some capacity more than what Topps has shown us through the project, initiatives. They're doing stuff and generating creativity and innovation and layering cards and so many cool effects. I just want to give some shout outs to some awesome custom card accounts. The Card Carver, I mentioned Mal's Custom Cards, Piggy Banks, Custom Cut Cards, LJ's Sports Cards, Crazy Custom Cards, Sharkbait Customs, Card Killer, Diamond Cut Cards, Hall of Fame Customs, so many others. There's so many cool creators out there.
Luke the
So
artist,
many.
he's great.
Yep.
You got there's a create your own custom cards, one of one MC, I think they are. There's yeah, I agree. There's so many of these talented folks. I'm sure we left some off the list, but Doug, where are custom cards in the hobby for you?
Yeah, my take is almost identical to his. I really like custom cards,
Yeah.
and I own some. I've got one from LJ, and I've got one from Jersey Fusion, and I think they're really, really cool. I don't necessarily think they should be worth more.
Right.
And I did not buy these cards with the expectation that they would ever increase in value. I have no idea if they're worth $1 right now, and I don't care. They look really good. They're on display at my house, and that's where they're going to stay. Now, I will say something like with the Jersey Fusion, there might be some consideration there because what they're doing is they're taking an existing card and they're adding player-worn memorabilia to it. So that might be something that could be perceived as adding value. And I think that you can see some of their stuff sell for more than you pay for it. You can actually make money off of some of their stuff. So there is some variables to that. It's not just the case that all custom cards should remain, without value. It just depends on what you're doing to increase the value of that card. So in that regard, sure, there's possibilities, but overall, buy them because I think they look awesome.
Yeah, no, I think these are very fair points, and I've got a number of these custom cards, and they're cool to look at. I agree, not, they don't have the secondary market value, but I love the fact there's so many artists doing that, and I totally agree with you that the manufacturers need to hire some of the more
I
talented
will
ones.
say we heard, I guess I can't talk a ton about it. We heard last year at the National that is happening.
Yeah.
From a couple of custom card guys that they are going to start showing up in mainstream flagship products
That's
potentially.
I hope so. We'll see. We'll see if that happens. I hope so. All right, guys, our next user suggested topic, viewer suggested topic, the future of trading apps and platforms. And actually, this is timely. Last week, we just did a sponsor video with Secure Trade Club. There's multiple companies kind of playing in this trading app space, trading platform space. Doug, is this something the hobby needs? And is this something that you think is going to be a growth area for the hobby?
Yeah, I think it should be a growth area. We go to a lot of card shows. What you see at a card show is oftentimes one of the most popular things about a card show is either the unofficial or official trade night of that show. Trade nights are so popular. Now, part of that is the fact that you're interacting with people in the hobby and you're getting to know people, but also there's just a huge, huge market for that, and that's the only way right now for that to take place. You don't really have a plausible way to do that online, so a company like Secure Trade Club or a Veriswap coming into the space and making that opportunity available, I think there's a lot of opportunity there for that. I'm sure we're probably just in the very early stages of that, and a lot of it's going to be people just understanding how these things can work. But yeah, that's a big part of this for people that don't really care about the dollars and cents, and I've got to sell this for exact comps, and I got to make this much money, and here's my margins, and you just want to trade cards with people. Yeah, there's absolutely going to be a market for this.
Does this interest you, Teapot? Would you the idea of doing trades online and maybe using a trading platform?
It does, yeah. I think if the cost is right. You mentioned Secure Trade Club, Veriswap. Also, there's another site called My Card Post, and they are for a once a month subscription fee, enabling in-app communication and trading and buying and selling. I think it's great. I think this is hugely needed. We need that safety and trust factor to be able to make those deals. And I'm not sure how many of these can be supported long-term. As with most things, over the last couple of years, we know there were a lot of tech-minded and entrepreneurial-minded people, some who had card experience, some who didn't, who saw the same landscape you saw 4 years ago going, this is just a lagging industry. And now there's this huge wave, this huge barrage of companies. Every time we go to a card show, Mint Collective, everywhere, all these new people, hey, I've got this thing that we've been working on for the last year, 2 years. Can we show it? Can we whatever? It's going to be really hard to compete, and I almost just worry that works against the hobby's general, good, because there's so many options. It's harder for one or two of them even to catch on, because you got this crowd over here and this crowd over here. I like the idea of unifying and hopefully keeping people in the same broader digital space in some capacity or another, but I think it's great. I think having a secure trade place is really important.
We'll probably see that a lot with the vaults as well. I'm sure trading within your one vault
that's true.
ecosystem should be more.
That's
more
interesting,
common.
and I don't think any of the vault companies are necessarily encouraging trading right now, because of course they want to get the fees of you selling a card on their marketplace, but. Maybe there's some business,
maybe there's a
potential
transaction
there.
fee.
Yeah,
Maybe there's a
for
trade
sure,
fee,
for sure. And
AI will figure it out.
AI is going to figure it all out, ladies and gentlemen. It all comes down to AI. All right, guys, I appreciate you watching this episode. If you enjoyed it, give it a like, give it a subscribe, and go check out Stand Up Displays. Go to standupdisplays.co and use that promo code SCI for 10% off your order. We appreciate you. See you next time. Take care.